Mrs. Leaders and Director of Business Community, we continue our discussions for the last segment, the fourth segment, still in the topic of the benefits of public-private partnership for our business, and still with us Pak Juwono Sudarsono and Pak Darmono. Pak Darmono, you have the idea of forming these groups of, what do you call it, communications group between the government and then the private businessmen, and then the also the academics. Yeah. How do we see that? How do we measure that this kind of approach can give benefits?
Well, I think any networking is always useful, because then you build friendship, you build trust, and you can then communicate the problems you have with the people you want to talk to. Now, some big companies, I mentioned also before, have got this kind of way to communicate,
yes,
which is costly, and not many people can enjoy this one. But if it is in a club, then many people can access to this network. So it is beneficial to many people, and also it's very transparent, because many things actually can be done, can be solved in that sort of club. For example, I had a problem. I had a request before from Mattel Barbie doll in Indonesia, who had problem regarding tax. Suddenly they have to pay VAT for product which actually is outsourced from the US. So because I know the people in the tax office, then I can introduce to them. But what happens if they are not in the industrial estate, or if they don't know me? Yeah. But in the club, then we can help each other. Another area is, for example, the union, the labor unions. They have a fight with certain companies there for the BC grade of the products. They want to have their stake, and the other group want to have their stakes, and they are threatening that they will have a demo. So this is no good for the foreign company. So in this club, because I again know the labor union chief, I can talk to him with sense as a neutral party.
Yep.
So this club again is useful, and I can also invite the Director General for Manpower or even the Minister to be able to mediate the conflict, or to understand the problem, so that new regulation can be introduced. So this is a very informal club, which basically can be a safety valve, and also can be a source for communication, problem solving, and so on. But the fundamental of this is, if you know people, then you build friendship and you build trust. So it's much easier to talk and much cheaper.
How do you see that this kind of relationship can be prevented from, favoritism or unfair practices? Because then, if we know each other, we give special treatment for the ones that we know, then we don't give the same treatment to the others.
Yeah, what happened now is, of course, people do network in the hotels, or go to Singapore to meet certain people there, They do it anyway, at their own risk, right? But now we formalize it into an area where this is a club. If they want to take risk, it's individual risk, but we make it much simpler, that people can meet in a transparent way, because there are journalists there, there will be academics, there will be government officials, there will be these business people, as in a friendly atmosphere. If they want to do something against the law, they take their own risk. But the forum is there, that we can warn each other. Hey, don't do that. This is not right.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's basically just a meeting place where we create an atmosphere of success, at the same time give education on moral, on good corporate governance, on the benefits of doing this, benefits of doing that. Yeah. So it's that kind of forum, which is I think is very useful to create a job very quickly, and create a much healthier atmosphere, and clear up a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication.
Okay, so Pak, for this kind of forum, that we see that is one of the materialization of the public-private partnership, is a communication forum where business people, government, and academicians, and maybe social group like media can meet. Who should be the lead driver? Is the businessman or the government or which party?
Well, of course, the best if it is led by government. Also, private sector can also start and then request the right government officers to be involved. It can come from both sides, but it would be much quicker if it is started even from the president himself, because then it becomes something which is accepted originally from the government, and private sector will follow through. So,
okay. But Juwono, what do you think from the your experience with the governments? Do you think that the governments, I mean, this kind of issue of public-private partnerships and this forming of groups of communication, I think it's not pretty new ideas, could be lingering around for quite long. But how do you see the reactions of the governments towards this idea?
I think the most critical aspect for Indonesia now is to develop a critical mass of middle managers who are competent, professional, relative to the size of the population, so that whatever agreements you have on the table, on paper, in legal terms, these are implementable by people who are competent. Our biggest weakness over the past 30 years has been we are one of the most undermanaged economies of the world, because the size of our professional class is very small compared to the size of the middle class and compared to the size of the economy.
Right.
Compared to Singapore, to Malaysia, the Philippines even, and Thailand, they have much more committed middle class.
Right.
Professional, competent, honest, who can drive the economy and make the public-private partnership much more implementable. That's the key word. We have good laws, we have good regulations, some of them too many.
Yes.
The jumble of laws creates a jungle of laws, and the law of the jungle comes in. But we need to have people who are implementable.
Yes.
And our problem is to get more people like you, young people in the middle management, who can implement these laws. Transfer the interface between public and the private sector.
While this effort is taking time, the idea of Pak Darmono having a club of communications to bridge the communications in the terms of quality, how do you see that the government interest in this one? Do you think that the government has the same sense of urgency to do this?
Actually, I think we should have a strong figure at the National Development Planning Agency, much like the Economic Development Board in Singapore, which has this roadmap of Singapore across 10-15 years, compared to the competitiveness of Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand.
I see.
We don't have this economic czar that we had during the Suharto years under Professor Pijoyo.
Right.
I think we need some figure below the president and the vice president to become the economic czar, to make this galvanizing sense of urgency across the board, public and private sector.
I see. Thank you, Pak Juwono and Pak Darmono. Because of time, we have to summarize our discussions. And business leaders and intellectual business community, we had our discussions about the benefits of public-private partnership for our business. And from our discussions, we learned that we need that as a businessman and also as a country. So the country's interest is taken care by the government, and the business interest is taken care by the business people themselves. And we know that the more business can flourish, can do better business, the more government also enjoys, and in terms of tax, and then the tax can be distributed to the people to take care of the majority of the people. But then if the process starts, then everybody suffers. Both sides suffers. The business suffers and the government suffers. And we see that both parties actually has the good intention to clear these problems, with the governments taking active role with the deregulations. But sometimes deregulations means breaking up a big regulations into much more smaller regulations, becomes more complex. And especially with the new regulations of local autonomy, That means that there will be division of which decision will be made by a central governor, and which decision should be made by the local government, and then it creates complexity, and sometimes the information don't reach the businessman, so that there might be confusions, and then in the confusions there might be some Marcus involved in. So rather than having these confusions, Pak Darmono suggests that we form forums where business people and governments and academicians and media is to prevent from the bad sides, so to make it transparent. And then with these communications we can improve the quality of communications, which may be taking time from the creation of the new policy into the executions. Then it makes people understand better, and by understanding better they can adjust their actions better in a more scheduled base, rather than we don't know exactly from the policy made into the executions how long, then we don't know how to prepare with the new regulations. So I think we can see from these discussions that both parties should take actions, and I think it's a good idea. Forming this forum has no less risk as long as we involve the media inside. Yeah. So because with the media, you know, everybody knows that the media can put the news in the newspaper whatever dealing inside, and I think once a good dealing can be made in a forum, it will be made available for everybody. Then it's good. I mean, that's like the preferential treatment of the WTO. Once you give a good preferential treatment to somebody and it become available for everybody, then why not? Then it's just a matter of how much we want to put our efforts in, and sometimes for the business people, they want to get the result, but they don't want to do the work. Time is the most expensive resources that they can spend. So doing this communication forum, sometimes they think that I'm spending time too much to talk and talk and talk.
Well, it's create new opportunities too.
But then I think if we really do this, I think we can see the benefits. Maybe within a few months we can see that better communications, and then problems might be resolved with better quality of communications. It's not that we are talking about whether regulations should be taken off or will be new regulations, but just understanding the new regulations and the timing and everything, the context surrounding that will make the business become more certain in making plannings and making decisions. I hope I can summarize our discussions well. So we should say thank you for Pak Juwono and Pak Darmono for this enlightening sessions of how the business people can work better with the government, and what will be the benefits of doing that, and what does it take us to do that. Yeah. So actually the investment is not much, but it's just time and efforts to do better communications each other. Yeah. Thank you very much, and we give applause to Pak Juwono and Pak Darmono. Business leaders and business community, that's the end of our discussions today, the benefits of public-private partnership for our business, and we'll see each other for the CEO reference program. I am Dr. Bayu Prawirahi, Executive Director, Intellectual Business Community. Thank you very much.